maybe we saw two different videos, because I saw one lawyer that was a little bit befuddled, couldn't really explain Norbes' losses, looked a little bit, stuttering a little bit nervous.
Where does the amended complaint speak of the sharing of losses in the partnership? What chapter and verse,
Certainly, Your Honor. With respect to the sharing of profits and losses, we disagree with the court because in 2019 alone, Mr. Velez put in $50,000 worth of capital contributions to host events on behalf of the Ultimate Rap League. And there's nothing in the record that says he even got that back. So the court...
Sir, is a contribution analogous to a loss?
Not necessarily, Your Honor. I would say a contribution's capital, but it can lead to a loss if that investment is not returned, at least at that amount or greater, which would be a profit.
This is the Supreme Court, man. These are very experienced lawyers. You have to be appointed to even be in a position like this. These people are old. They have seen and heard everything. They create the laws. When laws change in your state, a lot of times it's changed because the governor writes a new law and change it. Another reason why it's changed is because the Supreme Court decides that this is not a good ruling anymore, and they change it. And that's who these people are. These people are very knowledgeable. So, of course, they're able to combat everything you do. You know what I'm saying? Hit you with, what about this? What about this? What about this? But I also saw another lawyer in URL that could not explain the videos that were online that were saying Norbes is a partner. I saw that.
Evidence that he was held out publicly to be a partner of URL?
Is there allegations of that? Is that was the question?
Evidence, however you want to put it.
Well, there's certainly no evidence of it. I believe he said that they told him he was a partner, and those are in claims that were dismissed.
And what about the YouTube interviews where other partners referenced to him as being a partner of URL?
I don't believe there's ever the use of the term partner, and I believe even if the term partner was used as used in the colloquial sense, I believe it says is we're the members here. This is who URL is. But
URL consists of E. Beasley, which is myself, Smack, Chico, and Norbes.
And I also couldn't explain if Norbes was why would Norbes be doing things for free?
The guy is working and developing your business out of the goodness of his heart. Well, he did this just because he likes you guys. Come on.
So when I saw people criticizing and critiquing this and that and saying this and that without looking at the full picture, I thought maybe I got to get another TV, because I don't know if I'm able to see everything that y'all are saying. Maybe I got to get another TV. But I just want to do this video, man. You know how I feel about the legal system and the law, and I like kind of breaking stuff down. And I want to kind of explain some stuff to y'all. This may be a long video. You know how I do, man. You know what I'm saying? King of the long videos. So definitely watch it from beginning to end. I appreciate all the support, and let's get into it.
U2 is the third and last person. Welcome. At 814, meet X20.
Yo, what up, man? Chris, somebody checking back in, man. Back with a blog, man. Make sure hit that like button, subscribe button away, man. I appreciate all the support, man. No risk, no bag, man. Always believe in yourself, always invest in yourself, and always believe that whatever you want in life, you can achieve, man. No risk, no bag. Make sure you cop the merch. You know what I'm saying? Hit me up if you need to figure out how to get the merch. But I want to do this blog on the Norbes situation, man. From early on, I always felt like I would like to see Norbes. Norbes is suing for $80 million. Now, let's be real. Is he going to get $80 million? Hell no. You know what I'm saying? He's not getting $80 million. But I always wanted Norbes to get some money, and I wanted URL to continue to flourish. That's where I stand on all of this. I don't have no issue with URL. I don't have no issue with Norbes. It's not like I want URL to have to pay Norbes and then they can't function no more. And it's not like I want Norbes to be in his situation. I just like things to be fair. And I just feel like, when people have done a certain amount of work, I feel like they should be compensated for it. So that's where I stand in all this. I don't really have a foot in the race in this whole situation, but I do feel like some of y'all are not understanding certain things. And I want to attack this blog going all the way back and really kind of explaining a little bit of the origin of a lot of stuff. And then I'm going to get into this Supreme Court situation and all that kind of stuff. Early on with URL, when, obviously Norbes was around when URL was formed. You know what I'm saying? They came together in what was perceived to be a partnership. You know what I'm saying? Norbes was under the understanding that there was a partnership and oral agreement and all that. Now, you got to think a lot of this started out as an idea. You don't really know it's going to grow into the ultimate rap league. You know, all of these millions of dollars in caffeine deals and all that. You don't know when you sit on the corner talking about, yo, we should just throw a rap battle event. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I might have a couple $100. You know, I know a couple ballers. Most of them ballot for free. You know what I'm saying? Everything was free back then. All these ballers were balloting for free except like main event people and stuff like that. The reason why Norbes was important was because Norbes was Math's manager. And as his manager, he knew people that Smack didn't know. So yeah, Smack did the DVDs and he was able to get the Mooks and the J Mills and stuff, but he didn't know Big T. You know what I'm saying? He didn't even know these Midwest niggas like that. And it was the grind time Math and Fight Club and all this, and run around with Math that he was like cool with Cortez and this person, that person. And Norbes is one of the reasons why these people was able to come into URL. So when URL has their very first event and they're booking Big T and Deacon Frost, it's because of Norbes. You know what I'm saying? I think they booked X Factor and Cortez. It's because of Norbes.
Norbes is a very, very crucial part to changing my life. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Norbes put me in positions to shine early on in my career. And the same way I just said he did that for me, he did that for Twerk, and he did that for a lot of people, bro.
You know, I don't even think Smack even knew these people from what I understand. So Norbes had a big role in the very first event. Now, what is URL saying? URL is saying Norbes is a paid consultant. That's what they're saying. I don't know what they're using to prove that, you know what I'm saying? But they're saying he was a paid consultant, kind of like a A&R dude, which is artist and repertoire. So basically, he creates and develops artists for the URL. I guess that's what they were trying to say he does. And you know, obviously URL continue to grow. Now, URL didn't really have the capital to do events. That's why they weren't able to you remember the first URL event had Mav and T-Rex, a very big battle. But they were trying to figure out who was going to pay for that battle. So at first that battle was going to grind time, and then they weren't able to, you know, come up with the right amount of money or whatever. And then URL came up with the money, but it wasn't like Smacking them came up with the money. They didn't have the money either, from what I understand. There was a guy named Swag who was very important early on. And Swag was, a lot of people said he hit the lotto. I don't know how true that is. You know, if you go back to the Big T battle versus Hollow and Big T, he makes a reference. He said, you're going to need such and such to win. You're going to need this, you're going to need that, and you're going to need Swag's winning lotto stub. That was a bar that Hollow there. So a lot of people felt like he got his money from the lottery. Was that a cover up for it being like some street shit? I don't really know. He was a street dude. Maybe he had some street money. But he paid for Mav and T-Rex as a main event for URL. If you go to the early URL video, Swag was always introduced. Swag was always standing next to the ballers. He was always prominent up front because he was paying money for these ballers. The other ballers on the card were balling for free. Swag was paying for like the main event stuff. So when you got to the main event battles, people that was demanding money or whatever to do the battle, Swag was putting forth the money. This was early on when you're trying to grow the company. So it isn't a lot of putting forth a lot of capital unless it's like renting a venue or whatever the case may be, because as far as the battles were free, I think they weren't selling tickets, if I'm not mistaken. And, you know, it wasn't really like all these lapel mics and all this kind of people was just coming up, standing in front of each other rapping. So all these sophisticated cameramen, it wasn't that either. So I don't know how much capital it was in the beginning. And when you had main event battles, Swag paid for them. So I don't know how much went into the early stages of URL until they started to grow and grow and grow. And they got sponsors. They got Harry. They got exclusive vodka. They got the cigarellos. They got Ciroc and Diddy put in all that kind of stuff came later to help offset some of these costs. So we know Norbes' role has been what it is for the duration of time, 10 plus years. He was a part of URL, and he would openly say that he was a owner. He would openly say he's one of the 4 partners of URL, and it was never disputed by them publicly from my knowledge. You know, if I started doing videos saying, yo, I'm an owner of RBE, I'm sure ARP would say, nah, he ain't no owner. Nobody was ever saying at the time Norbes is not an owner when Norbes was openly saying that he was an owner or one of the 4 owners. And there's a lot of videos online where they kind of co-sign that or whatever the case may be.
Smack and Beasley in the building, creators, founders, innovators of the whole URL TV movement. And I'm here to chop it up with them about a few things.
There's a couple of us that ain't here though, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Let me get right, you know what I mean? Shout out to Chico, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to Norbes.
Now, from Norbes' standpoint, he feels like as the league grew, they basically went behind him, created an LLC, didn't put him a part of it, and didn't help him share in anything. Now, Norbes does take some fault in this because it kind of does seem like you were just along for the ride and you didn't question a lot of stuff. Either you were naive to let a lot of stuff by, either you were brainwashed into thinking that everybody got your back, or you just didn't ask enough questions. A lot of things that Norbes just don't know. And I don't know if he just hasn't been privy to it or whatever. Like, even when I did an Untold Truth with him, I asked him, like, how many subscribers are on a URL app? And it was something that he didn't know. So if you don't know that, if you don't know, like, you know, he does know, like, how much some of the ballots were paid and stuff like that. But if you don't know some of the ins and outs of it, it's like, why is the reason for that? And obviously he's disputing a lot of the money that he should have been paid. And it's like, you were around for so long and we always thought you had a great relationship with URL. Like, one of the reasons why me and Norbes fell out was because when I used to say certain criticism of URL, one of my biggest criticism of URL was that they would never put the card out. Remember, like, you would be trying to buy tickets and you would be trying to go to URL events and they would never let you know who's on the card until the last minute. And I used to hate that about that because I used to go to a lot of events. And I'd be like, yo, who's on the card? When's the date? When y'all selling tickets? When is this? Like, I'm trying to schedule my flights. The more critical I became a URL, Norbes would defend it to the core. He took all the bullets for URL and smacking on them. And every time you came out about anything with URL, it was Norbes on the front line taking the bullets. So me and him had an issue. And he had an issue with a lot of bloggers around that time that would be critical. And eventually me and Norbes got cool, but I always felt he had a pretty good relationship with Smack. You could not say one bad thing about Smack around Norbes without him defending him to the core. And it was Smack, it was Beasley. I didn't realize his relationship with Chico wasn't really the best, but early on, I didn't even really know that. So we know Norbes took a lot of bullets. One of the things that Norbes used to get hit on a lot with URL was contracts. You know, Norbes used to like block a lot of battles. I remember when Chess had got booked by Arsenal for UW, it got blocked. Obviously, Adi Boom and JC on RBE, it got blocked. A lot of battles was blocked by Norbes. And he took a lot of bullets for something that the company felt like should be done. Everybody in the company did not want these battlers battling on other platforms, but it was Norbes who was out front. It was Norbes who was basically saying, like, nah, we're not letting Chess battle over here. And the fans, we just wanted to see the battles. So when we took shots, we took shot at Norbes. And one of Norbes' problems, and I'm gonna always be fair in a blog like this, you know what I'm saying? Even though even though I like Norbes a lot, you know what I'm saying? And obviously he granted me an Untold Truth, and I'm always thankful for that because that's been one of my biggest videos since I've been back. But I'm gonna be fair. And one of the problems I know URL had with Norbes is that Norbes was so outspoken. He'll tell you, yo, King of the Dot ain't nothing. Like, it's all about URL. Nobody give a fuck about King of the Dot. And they didn't like that, you know what I'm saying? But I felt like Norbes would speak publicly what URL's private thoughts were. Because if you look at Smack now, what did Smack say in that Truth little video? He was like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? We don't really care what you do. You know, you can do what you do, just don't do what I do. You can do what you do, just don't do what I do.
Yeah, I'm just going to be politically, and I just want to appreciate everybody and everybody that's contributing to this art form. I appreciate, you know what I mean, the support. We're helping me, you know what I'm saying, basically promote this art form that we love known as battle rap. Shout out to all the leagues and their contributions, and I mean all the leagues. I'm not excluding nobody. All the leagues. I show y'all love. I appreciate y'all. It's no beef. I don't want no beef.
Got you.
That's what I'm saying respectfully. I don't want no beef. Just, you know what I mean? Let me do what I do. I'm going to let y'all do what y'all do. Just don't do what I do so we won't have no problems.
Fire.
That wasn't his attitude 7, 8 years ago. It was all, you know what I'm saying, we just trying to grow the culture, man. We love what they doing over there. We love what they doing over. Now it's like, don't do what we do. I know for a fact that URL hated URL artists going over to battle on King of the Dot. They hated it because a lot of times when niggas would go over there and they would get cooked. They would get absolutely cooked. Verb went over there, Caustic beat him badly. These are the things that used to go over there and happen, and you would lower your value. Then you would try to go back to URL, and URL was trying to preserve your value so that you could be someone that the fans will want to see. But if you go to King of the Dot, take 2 losses, now your stock drops. And then when you go to URL, nobody's as interested in the battle that you have on URL because you went over to King of the Dot and lost badly. Another thing that they didn't like is that you would go to King of the Dot and take less money from a white company, but then go back to URL, which was a black company, and ask for more money. From that standpoint, I understand that URL has more money, but I do kind of feel like that was something that was very, very bothersome to URL, especially Beasley. He hated it. He hated it, bro. I had many conversations where he hated it. And I kind of understood him from that point of view. It's like, you want to come to me and tell me, this is a typical thing that they would do. You want to come to me and tell me that you want $5,000 a battle, but you will go to King of the Dot for the same 3 rounds and do it for $2,500. And not only that, you'll lose. And then you want to come back to URL and want $5,000. And it's like, we build you up. We made you a star. King of the Dot came along and they want to book you, and you go to the white company for way less money. And then the fans gotta say, oh, you know, King of the Dot is so great. It's so great. Look what they book. Look what they book. And it's like, yo, they are booking people on a way less budget than we are able to. So I do know that that was an issue. What Norbes did was that URL publicly would never say that. Beasley would never get in an interview and say, yo, I hate them niggas battling on that white league. He'll never say that. So what happened is that Norbes will publicly say whatever the hell he say. Oh, nobody cares about King of the Dot. King of the Dot is whack. You know what I'm saying? Like all kind of stuff. Like, yo, I don't even watch RBE. It's just like everything about Norbes was outspoken, almost to a fault. But I always felt like Norbes was speaking how URL felt. He just spoke it. They were more politically correct. And Norbes was like bashful, like, we URL, we stand on what, and what? We URL, and what? So outwardly, they would show support to King of the Dot and any other league that was pushing battle rap to the forefront. But then you would do an interview and say, I don't give a fuck about King of the Dot. Were there ever conversations with you, Smack, Beasley, Chico, whoever, that they felt like you doing too much in interviews? Because I used to think you was doing too much in interviews, Norbes. I got to be honest with you.
Yo, no, my favorite part would get a call, like again, me and Chico didn't have that relationship. So Chico couldn't call me and tell me anything. You're my partner. I don't really fucking really like you. We don't fuck with each other. Bees would be the one to be like, Norbes, come on. You bug it out. But I'd laugh it off. Who cares? What are you guys so fucking scared of? You know what I'm saying? It's competition. It's fine. But, like, in terms of, you know, we had a lot of fucking conversations about shit like that. A lot of times we laugh about it. But don't sit there and think that fucking Organic gives a fuck about URL and if Smack gives a fuck about Organic or if RB. Like, it's not about pushing the culture. There's no fucking such thing. You know what the culture is? The culture is just to take money out of your pocket for them not to look like jerk-offs and look greedy. They don't give a fuck about everybody or the culture. Smack gives a fuck about Smack. ARP cares about ARP. Organic cares about Organic. I just watched Organic's last interview. He opens up the fucking the Twitch thing, right? And who the fuck's the first person you see? Drake. What does Drake say? I'm always gonna support the best battle league in the world. Mind you, fucking Drake is behind caffeine. Like, right. Come on, you're gonna sit there and fucking tell me that they give no, and Organic should feel that way. I don't take. That's why I say when they get mad, I sit there like, why the fuck are you mad about what I'm gonna say? I'm just a lot better at saying it than you guys are, and I'm fucking hilarious to me at least.
And they didn't like that. And maybe he was a little bit too outspoken. I think him and Chico got into it a couple of times about certain stuff. And that was that. And eventually it culminated with him being more and more phased out, him moving away from New York down to Atlanta. And, ultimately the issue with Twerk and his baby mom led to an altercation at Caffeine. And that was the end of Norbes on URL. Now, one of the reasons why they're saying, so let's get to the actual case. They're saying Norbes is a consultant, okay? And that he was paid for his services. They're also saying that he was let go as a consultant due to like multiple women coming up complaining of like sexual harassment. Now, I don't really know how you can prove that unless you start dragging a bunch of chicks in and be like, yeah, Norbes was hitting on me. Other than that, it's kind of like, who was he sexually harassing? You know what I'm saying? And that's a hard allegation to say and kind of unfair to put on someone without any real proof. Trying to holler at a girl to smash ain't sexual harassment. That's what niggas do every day. You know what I'm saying? I don't even think him hollering at Twerk baby mom is the real violation. Niggas talk to baby mamas every day. And so the violation would be maybe him and Twerk were cooler and maybe he crossed the line on a coolness or friendship vibe or something like that. But don't act like hollering at a baby mom. Nigga, you know how many baby moms is getting smashed out here constantly? You know what I'm saying? Constantly. I got a son, which means I got a baby mama. You think niggas run around like, yo, I shouldn't holler at Chris Unbiased baby mom. That's Chris Unbiased. Nah, niggas just smashing my baby mom if they can. Like, let's keep it real. So this whole thing about like talking to women, like this all niggas do it at battle rap events. You go to a battle rap event, that's why y'all love these old basic ass girls at the event, because they basic as hell. Because there ain't that many of them. If it's 20 dudes in a room and I see one girl over there, she could be a 6 on the Richter scale. But since she the only girl in the building, she might be an 8 to me. Like, damn, look at that girl over there. So my thing is, all these league owners, all they doing is talking to women. Like, come on, bro. Like, let's be real. Every league owner has, these women are attracted to power at the end of the day. You have the power to book people. You have the power to, you think all these rumors are going around. It's a million rumors that we hear about league owners. So you hear it in the battle. Oh, you was fucking this dude. Bro, everything ain't a lie. Like, some of it is a little bit of this and a little bit of that. So I don't understand the sexual harassment. I gotta keep it real with y'all. I don't know how you prove that. And Norbes is married, so to kind of like say that as an accusation, you gotta really be able to stand on that. You know what I'm saying? And actually say that. And I don't really know what women they're gonna be the drag in the courtroom and say that that's the case. So that is one of the things that they're saying. They're obviously saying he's a consultant and that he wasn't an owner. Now, Norbes does face an uphill battle because he never signed a contract. And even though he has an oral agreement, and oral agreements do have, you can't be bound to an oral agreement. But if you got multiple people saying we didn't have an oral agreement, then you have an uphill battle. And unfortunately for Norbes, some of his naiveness has actually hurt him a little bit. This is some of the things, I read a little bit of the transcript. So this is some of the things, that they're saying that Norbes didn't have a part of. Now, they talked about shared wins and shared losses. So if you're saying we'll share in the profits, are you sharing in the losses? Now, later on in the Supreme Court, they did ask Norbes' lawyer, how do we really know that there were losses to be shared?
Did in your motion for summary judgment, did you put forth evidence that that URL has suffered over the last 10 years some losses that only your clients paid for and that the plaintiff here did not participate in? Did you put anything like that as evidence in your motion? Just summary judgment.
Just to ground this, we're still at the dismissal stage, so it was.
Also, I asked a direct question. The answer to that question is yes or no.
We've never gotten to summary judgment, so the answer is no. This is on.
How can you prove that there was actually losses? So I told you early on that a lot of these events were free and Swag paid for a lot of the events. So I don't really know if URL really incurred any real losses other than like renting a venue. because the battles were free and Swag paid for the main event. So what losses were really taken in the early stages of these battle rap events? Not saying there weren't no losses. I'm just saying like everything ain't a loss. Okay. They were also trying to say he wasn't responsible for like scheduling events and coordinating stuff. You know, this is what they saying. He didn't provide any capital to start the thing. If you're saying that you are a partner, what capital did you put in to help start URL? Like I told you, this probably started from an idea. They probably talked to battle rappers who were hungry that want to battle, kind of like these Crucible niggas that are battle for free. So there is no capital put in. It's like, yo, we want to do an event. We're going to do it in this little small ass room. We're going to bring a couple of our friends. We're going to bring one cameraman and y'all going to rap. There is no capital to start. And I'm going to put it on YouTube or SmackTube or whatever at the time. That's not a lot of capital to start, but that's what they were trying to say. Like, what about the capital to start? And if Swag paid for the ballers, then Swag could have paid for it through URL or through Smack. He could have gave Smack the money, which then makes it seem like Smack provided the capital. Or I don't know if Swag actually gave Math and Rex the money, or he gave it to Smack and Smack gave him the money. But anyway, it could look like Smack provided that capital based on that. Control of the website. No, URL had a website. Did Norbes control it? Doesn't look like he controlled it. The social media site, the URL TV.tv, IG, URL.tv, Twitter. Are you controlling that? Doesn't control the bank accounts. You know, a lot of that stuff is done by Chico. I know who's controlling a lot of that stuff. That's Chico is a computer guy, the money guy, all that. That's Chico. So, Norbes was saying that he was supposed to, that he got some revenue and stuff for certain ticket sales. Oh, they sold tickets for this and they cut me into this. And they were saying that ticket sales are not the same as sharing profits from an enterprise. So just because you get ticket sales doesn't mean that you actually shared any actual money from the company. That's what they were saying. He wasn't present at the Caffeine meeting. You had a big meeting with Caffeine, $1 million on the line. Caffeine had a meeting and Norbes wasn't there. That's another thing that they're trying to say. They're trying to say that even though Norbes set up contracts with ballers, like we want to sign you to the contracts, the actual person that wrote the contract and signed it was Chico. So it says, while you set up contracts between artists and talent, you never actually executed the contract. And Chico does do a lot. Chico is the contract guy. If you go back to where Norbes was like, I was trying to sign Jonai to the company, he says it kept taking a long time. It kept taking a long time because Chico wouldn't give him the contract. And Chico wouldn't give him the contract. That's because Chico was doing a lot of the contracts.
Because I'm like, yo, we got to put this dude on the contract. For whatever reason, you know, he had, and this is what he had to do. He had certain things that he wanted to be clarified, and he wanted certain things in his contract. But for some reason, every time we sent him a contract, and Chico was the contract guy.
It's an uphill battle for Norbes, obviously, because it's a lot of things in his favor. When you don't have control or you don't have knowledge of a lot of certain stuff, it can appear that, yeah, you may have had an oral agreement with them, but was it really an oral agreement or were you really a partner? One thing that's on Norbes' side is that you still have to prove that he was a consultant. And I don't know if you're going to have anything to prove that. Like, it's not like you wrote up a contract and he said, yeah, I'm going to be a consultant. Let me sign right here. So you got to have that and the videos that do say that he was a partner. They weren't saying he was a consultant when they were talking in these videos.
URL consists of E. Beasley, which is myself, Smack, Chico, and Norbes.
So these are the things that he has going on in his favor. Now, I wish URL would have just gave Norbes some money, bro. I gotta be honest with you. I really wish they would have. I felt like early on they could have gave him $250,000. It's only $250,000. That's like 2 Mook battles, 2 Lux battles, and a Geechee battle, and you didn't pay them off. They could have just paid him off to go away. When I interviewed Norbes, he kind of lived very modest, bro. He had like a little decent little house. Wasn't nothing crazy. You know, he wasn't doing bad, but it wasn't like he knew. when you look at Smack and you see the chains and the foreign rentals at the events, and I do believe that URL them are millionaires when it's a different lifestyle than what Norbes is living in Atlanta. And I try to interview Norbes a lot, and I remember him thinking like, oh, you know, I don't got nobody to watch the kids. And it's like, if you got just unlimited money like that or bread, like, you need to hire a babysitter. Come on there and watch, we can just knock out this interview real quick. So I never got the sense that Norbes was just doing oh so great. And he was still working, like as an Uber driver, a warehouse worker, stuff like that. I think those were the kind of jobs that he had. So, you know, Beasley them quit working at the record label. Chico was the money guy for URL. And, you know, Smack is Smack. So I don't see them clocking in a 9 to 5, but I see Norbes going to work every day. So when you look at like some of the things that people didn't like about Norbes, like, oh, Norbes didn't put my PG out. And Norbes was... You know, Norbes has his flaws in that they would pay Norbes to host an event. I've seen this firsthand. So they would pay him to host an event and they'll put him on a flyer, such and such PG in, I don't know, Cleveland, Ohio, hosted by Norbes. And then Norbes would get there. Maybe he would get there, maybe a little late. Maybe he missed a battle or two. Or maybe he would come and that the battle, like instead of hosting every single battle, you remember them PG cards where like 10 battles on there? Well, only a couple of them would be actually hosted by Norbes. Like, yo, this Street Star Norbes, you know what I'm saying, battle on my left. Norbes would just be watching the other ones. So if you would battle on that card, you would kind of feel like, damn, I wrote my heart out, and Norbes is just like over there in the corner just watching from afar. Like, you don't even feel like he's a part of it. Then you look at the other battles and you're like, oh, he's actually hosting this joint. This is the main event. He's hosting it. So to some people, they felt like bringing Norbes out didn't really benefit them. That was a lot of criticism. There was battlers talking about they paid Norbes for battles and he didn't put them out. There was battlers talking about Norbes said he was going to put the battle out. He didn't put the battle out. Now, when putting a battle out, you have to edit it first. And they were edited by B-City. They were edited by Twiz. They're not doing it for free. So why edit a video? Why put it out if you're not going to sign that battler to a URL contract? So some people battled and they battled their hearts out. And URL just didn't feel like they was good enough. So they just basically shelved the footage. Now that is, I'm not going to say it's unfair to them, but it's kind of fucked up that they would rap and not get their footage out. And Norbes took the brunt of all of that. So one thing I can say is when it comes to sharing in profits and sharing in losses, Norbes definitely, they didn't share in the criticism because Norbes took all of URL's criticism, bro. Oh, they didn't put the battle out. It's 4 owners of URL. Anybody can put that battle out, that PG battle. Oh, they didn't put the battle out. They didn't this, they didn't do that. So did Norbes choose the PG system? Did he use it as a little hustle? Did he make a little bit of money on the side? Did he sell some tickets and pocket the money? Did he book a bunch of ballers and did the ballers pay to get on? Very possible. When you look at the fact that Norbes is cut out and he's working a 9 to 5 and these other niggas are like millionaires, it kind of look like maybe he needed to feel like I got to come up some way. They coming up. I got to come up some way. And the PG system is the only thing I control. So looking back at it, I give him a little bit of a reprieve and think that maybe he wasn't as bad as I thought he was. I kind of thought like sometimes he didn't run the PG system great. And he created, but he did create a lot of stars, bro. He created a lot of stars. You know, these stars is on URL right now, these Swamps and all that. There's an interview with Swamp talking about Norbes.
J. Lopez was a 1-round PG. That's when Swamp was didn't know anything. Just got a call from Norbes like, I got a back out. Can you pull up in 6 days and give me 1 round? Yes.
I don't know, man. Norbes, man, came to Cali. The Riot, my brother Kevin Parks, man, my home league, man. We invited Norbes out. He came, watched a lot of battles. He was the first dude from any other East Coast big man. He the first dude from the URL period, especially to come out, see me battle, and go back and be like, before he went back, he told me, yo, I'm fucking with you. We gonna bring you out here, man. I need you. Like, that's a fact. He was the first motherfucker to hit me. Yo, we need you to come to New York, battle.
First thing battle have to be like, bro.
Yeah. He made a tweet before I even had Twitter. He said, yo, Compton got a star. This is years ago. I don't know how long back y'all can go back on your phones, but you go back, you will see it. And it's love, man. Nothing but respect for this nigga, man, for real.
I have to say that looking at the briefs and going through the record, this appears to be a very sad situation to say the least.
Last thing I want to say, because this video is what, 26 minutes long, 30 minutes long now. One of the last things I want to say, Norbes faces an uphill battle, and you know, I think he had like 15 or 16 counts. They ruled against him on like 11 of these counts. And, you know, a lot of it was trying to say some of these things like that you weren't present at the caffeine meeting, you're not this, were you really that, or were you really this? But this is what I will say. This case is in the appellate court. And I need y'all to understand what that means, because some of y'all got this shit really twisted. If you could appeal everything, the legal system would completely shut down, because you would just appeal everything. Like, oh, we think you should pay $10,000 in a civil suit because they said you did this, this, and this. No, I appeal. Oh, we think you should do 8 years in prison because you stabbed this dude. No, I appeal. Oh, we think you should do 3 years probation because you failed 3 drug tests. No, I appeal. You would appeal every single thing you can, because most of the time the appeal isn't going to get worse. So I'll just appeal it, and maybe I can win on the appeal and get a lesser infraction, lesser time, lesser money, whatever the case may be. So if you could appeal everything in the legal system, I need y'all to understand this, you would appeal it. So with that being said, they have to grant an appeal, meaning you have to be approved to get an appeal. So the fact that Norbes is in an appellate court is very important. You don't take nothing from this video, take this. The fact that Norbes is in the appellate court means that whatever was ruled on at the lower court, they found something in there that either may not be right or something that's very questionable. So they're willing to hear it at a higher court, because they could have just denied his appeal and left the ruling at the lower court. So while y'all look at it like, oh, Norbes' lawyer is getting cooked and he's getting this and he's getting that, these are some of the best judges in the world, bro. These niggas know the law backwards and forwards. You know what I'm saying? No, obviously Norbes has a young lawyer. He has a black lawyer. He has probably being young, he's probably fairly a new lawyer. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes new lawyers are good because sometimes you don't know what you don't know. Sometimes you just don't know what you don't know. So you're really gung-ho and you're willing to try anything. And real quick about me, my lawyer told me I would not get my ankle monitor off. He told me that. But sometimes I believe your path and what you know about other cases is not my path. The Lord has his own path for me. Don't try to tell me what I can't do. I believe I can. I look at the glass half full. I don't look at glasses half empty. But my lawyer told me, your charges, 6 charges, 5 very high felonies, not going to take your ankle monitor off. You know what I told him? Try anyway. He come back to me, bro. He called me in like 2 days. He called me and said, man, you'll never believe what happened. He was like, they took the ankle monitor off. He said, I never seen nobody with your charges get an ankle monitor to take off. I say that to say, sometimes when you're an older judge, an older lawyer, you think you didn't seen so much stuff. So sometimes you be like, they ain't gonna do it. They ain't gonna do it. Maybe a public defender wouldn't even try no shit like that. It would just be like, it ain't a waste of time. But sometimes when you're a new lawyer, you don't know what you don't know. So you try a lot of different stuff. So that is one benefit. But both these lawyers seemed a little bit flawed in their argument, or a little bit unsure of their argument based on what was saying. But the fact that it's in the appellate court, means that they saw something at the lower court they were willing to look at again. That's always a win, bro. Anytime you're in the appellate court, it's a win, because they can always deny your appeal. And they deny millions of appeals yearly. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's appealing something. Every ruling where a person loses trial, they try to appeal. If they can afford a lawyer to do the appeal, they will appeal it. And in order for you to get an appeal, they're going to look at the first transcripts and say, like, these are the things that they grant an appeal on. Bad counsel, meaning you had a bad lawyer the first time and he should have done this, this, and this. So they'll grant you an appeal because you have like a improper representation or bad representation. Like, say you had a public defender and they didn't really fight for you hard, and then you file an appeal and they be like, yeah, your lawyer should have done this, this, and this. The other thing is problems with the prosecution. The other side didn't do this, this, and this, so the appeal process works against them. So the point I'm trying to make is, in order for you to have an appeal, they look at it, they look at the first lower court thing, and they say, I don't know about this. This is questionable. This is real questionable. We'll grant the appeal. The fact that Norbes is where he's at is actually a win. I can't stress that enough. You didn't learn anything from watching this video. They never even ruled on the appeal. They didn't rule on it. They listened to Norbes' lawyer. He got cooked. They listened to URL's lawyer. He got cooked. And they'll congregate. And in about 90 to 120 days, they'll have a ruling on those. I think Norbes lost like 11 counts. They got a 16 or something. They'll rule on those 11 and they'll either change them or keep them the same. You didn't really learn anything watching this. Like, you didn't learn anything about the case. Like, you don't know any more information than you did before, honestly. So I just wanted to say that, man, and to just know that, you know, the fact that they are able to hear this again shows that, you know, maybe he'll have some blessings coming his way for the ruling. And for you to get to that level, it's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. Had they denied URL, would have been boom. It would have been stamped, and those 11 rulings would have been a done deal. You know what I'm saying? So the fact that it's here, it's just more fighting that URL has to do, more fighting that Norbes has to do, and we'll see where this ends. Like I said, I don't have a horse in a race. Do I think Norbes is getting $80 million? Absolutely not. I just want to see Norbes taken care of, and I want to see URL continue to flourish. I really want this shit to kind of move on, because I feel like this thing is slowing up battle rap in general. I think it's this caffeine stuff is looking at these lawsuits, and they don't want to give as much money. They don't want to be, they tied into this lawsuit anyway, but they don't want to be tied in. So, I mean, I don't really know what caffeine and URL are going to do moving forward, but a lot of this lawsuit is actually affecting a lot of stuff. And that's just my perspective on it, man. I just wanted to give y'all some perspective. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Holla at your boy.